Hi, this is Jennie Bharaj, and you're watching my web series dedicated to news and insight in the gaming industry. Online freedom is obviously a very passionate subject for a lot of people, but what about video game dev freedom? A lot of gamers aren't aware of the legal restrictions surrounding video game development. A quick lesson: registered patents allow the owner to have exclusive rights to an idea or process or a device, and a lot of video game technologies have patent protection. For example, the N64 controller is patent protected by Nintendo. It's also good to point out that patent protection is very common in the video game industry. For example, Sega has more than 1,000 US and European patents. Nintendo has more than 200. Atari has more than 100. And these are just some companies. But patent rights for video games delve into more than just physical technologies. A lot of patents delve into gameplay mechanics or ideas for video games. This is why a lot of game devs may feel restricted in the games that they create. Here's a quick example. For those of you who are unaware of ghost cars, it's basically an apparition of a player's fastest lap while you're racing in real time. The first ghost car was utilized in Atari's arcade game Hard Driving. Now, Atari is famously known for its successful patent for the ghost car in racing games. In my opinion, racing games without ghost cars are at a huge disadvantage. Atari knew this, which is why they set a licensing fee for game developing companies who want to include a ghost car in their game. In fact, Revolt, a console game released in 1999, actually had to remove their ghost car feature because they didn't have the license from Atari to include it. But then there are also cases where the courts go against the validity of a patent. For example, in 1994, Atari went against Sega, claiming that Sega's games for the Genesis and the Game Gear were infringing on their rights for the side-scrolling gameplay feature. Side-scrolling gameplay is defined as a 2D game mechanic where the character moves through a setting with changing backgrounds. It's a very simple concept, but Atari was claiming that Sega was making them lose dominance in the market because they were infringing on their patent. The court stated that Sega was not responsible for Atari's potential failure and therefore denied their claim, even though Atari's patent may have been valid. I consider that a sick burn. The video game industry is filled with rules and regulations about everything, but in the beginning stages there were a lot of stress points because everything was just so new. But are these types of video game patents that directly associate themselves with game mechanics and ideas for video games hindering video game dev freedom, or should we just consider this as the common norm? Let me know in the comments below. Cheers and keep on gaming.